The initial kind of seed of inspiration for Trailfest was born out of an experience I had with friends over in the Alps back in 2015. We got a long ways to go, but I'm optimistic. I just walked away from that appreciating how that event had captured kind of my love of sport and community and celebration of those involved in a mountain environment. And so when I returned home to Mammoth, conversations immediately started amongst my local friends of, why don't we have something like that here? And that was sort of its genesis. The Eastern Sierra is just such a magical place that Lindsay and I discovered our first year out of college. And having grown up in California, I had no idea that this was part of the same state that I knew. My athletic career is what I always cared the most about, and I thought that was what was going to make me special, or I would find my place in the world as a result of it. And it kind of feels like I've spent 20 years just swimming upstream trying to achieve that. And while I'm proud of the accomplishments that were realized, Trailfest has allowed me to really accept that I find so much more joy allowing other people to have opportunities to realize a dream or challenge themselves. And it's kind of funny to think that I chased one thing for so long and then I'm suddenly realize that was never really my true calling or path. And for the first time, it feels like this is a space that I want to be and be able to welcome more people and share in their success and their failures and help pick them up from the ground and dust them off when they do stumble or fall. It's just such a more fulfilling place, and it's allowed me to accept myself for who I am more, as opposed to trying to change my body or myself to fit this mold that I had in my mind as what it needed to be, where now I feel like Trailfest has allowed me to express the creativity or the things that I and our community want in a positive way. And that's the hope for the future of it, is that it continues to just foster our community and let people realize the power that trail has and how it can really change your life. 2019 was the first attempt to get Trailfest off the ground. What prevented it from becoming a reality for a few years was combined with my own insecurity and fear of taking a chance. I knew that to make it happen, I would have to leave my job as a physical therapist, and as someone that's very risk adverse, that was a terrifying prospect. I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur. I didn't know anything about business or events. I can appreciate the ones I liked, but I didn't know the first thing about putting on an event, and that just terrified me.
TV starts, and we're gonna call up the top 10 women here, and then they're gonna line up on the start.
Okay. Society had told me that this was the path I should be on. That's what I was raised to believe. Go to college, get a job. So to step away from such a commitment and investment emotionally, financially,
it's gonna be an incredible day for racing.
It felt like I was gonna be letting everyone down, and no one in the healthcare or medical field understood why I would step away.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
You kind of get these almost golden handcuffs of a job with dependable hours and benefits and healthcare. And the idea of giving all of that up for this dream was too insurmountable for me for many years.
So I think if we just pull all this stuff out, tent is great. We'll just bring these tables out and then we're gonna get some barricades.
It was during the pandemic when I really started to work on myself and get deep in therapy that I realized I needed to start teasing out what filled me up.
Who's ready?
And what I was interested in, and stop kind of playing by other people's expectations. As I started to kind of come to grips that I no longer needed to prove myself to anyone else and I could just be Tim, that started giving me more confidence that I should follow where my heart is pushing me. I talk about having anxiety or insecurity and fears in life in general, and everything in year one was amplified because I was absolutely petrified that it was gonna burn up in my face. That movie Firefest, the documentary, literally is what resonated with me. Like I had nightmares thinking that like people are going to show up in Mammoth and somehow be stranded in the woods and there aren't going to be porta potties and like whatever it was. I was so terrified that was going to be me. And I know that now that you just have to go through it and recognize that those concerns are healthy because they're going to keep you accountable and is going to make you not overlook something, especially as important as the safety of your runners. You don't know what you don't know, and sometimes that's a blessing, but also it leaves you feeling like you're navigating the dark without a light, and you just have to make it through. And you do realize that confidence comes from competency. And so once you are able to do it once or twice or 10 times, you can take that reassurance that this is something you can handle.
In a course record, in a time of 5 hours, 23 minutes and 17 seconds, that is Sylvie Abel, your 2024 Trailfest 50K champion.
Trailfest was established on pillars of community, stewardship, and storytelling, and it deeply warms my heart knowing that like the community aspect has shown through the most. And I think that is why it's been able to grow relatively quickly, that collectively we are building something together that's meaningful. And I may not be the best business move, but I like letting the tail wag the dog a bit and listening to what the runners want and what the community is asking for, because it's all about the experience. Like we want people to fall in love with trail. We want people to fall in love with connecting with others. It's so important that every single runner is celebrated, because regardless of their finish time or place, they should be the most important person in the world when they cross that line. And I can't think of a place I would rather be than right there. Selfishly, it's really fun to see the emotion on their face, either realizing a dream or overcoming the doubt. There's just no greater place in the world to be than on the finish line.
I really appreciate it.
Yes. Don't be afraid of failing, but fail forward. That's something that held me back, and in hindsight, I wish I had taken the chance earlier, but the fear of failure is what hamstrung me. And failure is really a gift. It is a privilege to be able to learn and then implement something different and try again. And when you recognize that failure isn't the enemy, but it's actually part of the process, I think that's when you unlock your potential. I definitely have come to appreciate how much of a gift it is to be able to do something that you love. This is one life that we have to live, and if it is spent doing something that's not in alignment with your values, if you have the opportunity to make a change or a shift, you should really entertain that. And I know that I'm finally starting to live in line with the values that I care about, and maybe not the values that were projected onto me. And that was a hard thing. It's taken me 40 years to figure that out, but I think that's what's allowed the most joy throughout this, is that I know that what I'm doing is in parallel to the things I care about.